Okay, so this is my first Q&A video, weight loss Q&A, and I thought I'd start off September, or the first work day of September, because yesterday was Labor Day, with a Q&A video, and I'll probably put some more together. But I had some questions that clients have been asking me, or clients or members, I should say, at the gym, and I wanted to address them and kind of help some people out, because some people out there might have the same kind of questions. So, here's the first question. What is the best diet for weight loss? Have you heard of the paleo diet? So this is one of the questions I got, and I'm pretty familiar with the paleo diet. I'm a big believer in the concepts of it, but understand the whole paleo diet is a fad diet. Some people who hear this might, people who really love the paleo diet might take offense to me calling it a fad diet, because right now, because of CrossFit, it has kind of created this big buzz about eating real food. And you know what, I'm always about that. So you think about the whole paleo concept of eating real food, which means meat, vegetables, fruit. I mean, if possible, eat grass-fed meats. If possible, eat fresh caught fish. If possible, have free-range chicken. The idea is that you stay away from processed junk as much as possible. And this is this is nothing new, but it kind of creates a very simple way to eat that's very helpful for a lot of people. Now, if you read into a lot of the paleo literature, the books out there, if you like, I'm a big Raw Bull fan, so don't think by any means that I'm trying to discount the power of what the paleo diet does, or what the paleo diet can do for someone's life. But again, to answer the question, what is the best diet for weight loss? My view is this: I like to have the paleo diet as a way to create a framework, and that means meat, vegetables, and fruit. I think dairy, depending on the individual, should take it out for a period of time and see if there's a benefit to having it out. Everyone's a little different with how they respond to food. It's understanding how you respond to food that will determine whether or not you should have dairy, if you should eat eggs on a regular basis, or if you should eat bread for that matter. Because people tolerate bread fairly fine. I mean, unless you're grossly overweight, not people will have many negative benefits. People will say they feel better if they don't eat bread. Then if it makes you feel better, don't eat bread. But the best diets for weight loss come from essentially controlling your insulin levels, and that typically means lowering your carbohydrate intake. When you lower your carbohydrate intake, you are going to inevitably control your insulin levels, which will help you burn more body fat. But more importantly, it will help you eat less calories. Because remember that weight loss has a lot to do with net calories. Net calories in, net calories out. Now, people might say that, well, I thought it was more, I've heard that it's not just about calories. Well, it isn't just about calories. Food quality does matter when you talk about health as an overall picture. But you got to remember that it is about net calories. Even though if I eat paleo and I eat a lot of meats and vegetables, I'm not going to lose any. I might lose weight if I eat less calories, but if my net calories are more than taken in versus what's expended, I'm going to gain weight. Now, the quality of the weight will depend on what I do for activity. If I lift weights, probably going to gain some muscle. If I'm sedentary and I have a surplus in calories, it's probably going to be fat. So again, the best diets that help for weight loss are ones that control insulin levels, typically lower carbohydrate, and diets that control your caloric intake. So making sure that you're following your calories. Calories do matter. If you do follow, again, like I said, I'll just kind of end it at this, is that if you lower your carbohydrate intake, you automatically lower your calorie intake, because most people's diets consist of about 50 to 60% calories come from carbohydrates. So if you cut your carbohydrates in half, or you eliminate them completely almost, or you exchange them for vegetables, you're going to cut your calories. So those are the best diets that can help you lose weight. Is ones that control caloric intake. It could be low carb, it could be high carb. Here's another question I got: I'm thinking about starting an exercise program, but I wanted to lose the weight first. So I'm going to do a lot of cardio, then hire a trainer and start lifting. I guess really not a question. I guess he wanted me to his opinion of what I thought about that. The way the body works is that you have muscle and you have fat. Probably a better way to look at it is, how do you build fat? You build fat by not moving and eating more food. That's kind of how that works. You become sedentary, you're taking too many calories. If you want to gain a lot of body fat, You eat a lot of processed food that tastes really good that doesn't make you full, like chips and just processed garbage and junk that make you want to eat more of it. Because I guess in his mind, the only way I can really think of it is that he thinks that he wants to focus on weight loss, but what you should be really focused is on fat loss. You want to improve how you look, how you feel by losing body fat. Now, if you are 30, 40, 50 pounds overweight, yes, your weight is important, that you want to track that, you want to lose weight. However, you may have some muscle gain effect in there. So that you want to do both at the same time, because if you build muscle, you're going to burn more calories. And if you actually stimulate your muscle to grow by doing push-ups, sit-ups, lifting heavy things, heavy weights, you're going to increase your overall metabolic rate, which will increase your overall caloric expenditure. Like the best way to work off bad food, if you eat a bunch of junk food, let's say you go on vacation, I typically just hit the weights really hard, because what that will do is will stimulate my metabolism. And there are two things that might happen. One, that excess food may help in me adding more muscle mass in my body. Or number two, or probably number two, I'll get a higher metabolic effect, which will allow me to burn these extra food, it's extra calories that I eat as I eat these extra food on my vacation. So that makes no sense. Start lifting weights and doing cardio in the same program. Just do smart amounts. Another question I got was, I have a class reunion in 3 months. Can I lose 30 pounds by then? Now this individual at the gym was over 200 pounds. So I think he was probably 225, he said. And to be 25 pounds overweight, and I think he was almost about my height, 5'8", 5'9". For him to lose 30 pounds 3 months is very doable. Now, if he weighed like 20 pounds, that could also be possible, but it would be much more difficult. It would really depend on your body fat percentage. Because in the end of the day, it really has a lot to do with how much activity you do and what your diet looks like. So it absolutely is. The lower you are in weight, typically, the closer you are to your ideal weight, the more difficult it is going to be to lose weight. I'm about $190, $185, depending on if I'm on a high or low carb diet. And what will end up happening is for me to lose 10 pounds, it may take 2 months. I can do it in maybe a month if I'm very aggressive with my eating, but that's what it comes down to. Like, are you willing to follow an aggressive diet to get down to your goal? So yes, it is possible. It just depending on who you are, or in this person's case, if I tell someone to eat vegetables, it just reminds me of a story of a client. He asked, he wants to lose a lot of weight really fast. He wanted to change his body, and then I said that you probably want to eat. You want to cut all your carbs or cut most of your breads and rice and pastas and stuff, and you want you to eat more vegetables. And then he said to me, "I don't like vegetables." So that's the first problem there. You probably need to start eating vegetables and getting rid of all the high glycemic carbs that you don't need unless you're working out a lot. Okay, and then this last thing that I'll address in this video is, I heard this comment, I had to talk about it in this video, and it says, I don't want to gain any muscle, I just want to lose weight. And this, of course, if you can think about it, it's really a female. And if you know anything about exercise science, and you're into sports, and you kind of understand how the human body works, you want to build as much muscle as possible, especially if you're female. Now, if you've had a history of getting big and bulky, which is probably like, 1 to 2% of the population, then maybe you may have to adjust your weight training regime just a little bit, but you still want to do weight training. You want to build muscle so that way you have a higher calorie wasting ability. Because in the end of the day, you're trying to change your net calories in, net calories out. Now, sometimes when I talk to someone about losing weight and changing their body, it really isn't just about the calories in, calories out. I'm trying to improve their lifestyle. The calories in, calories out do become important, but some people are just not willing to track every single gram of carbohydrate and every single gram of protein. I do have every client do that in the beginning, but for a lot of people who are really grossly overweight, they just have to make some small changes and they'll get results. And then as the weight loss slows, then I make adjustments for them to be a little bit more more particular about how they eat and how they track their food. But you want to build as much muscle as possible, because building muscle is very difficult. If you eat a lot of food, it's very difficult to build muscle. So it makes no difference, because again, muscle, the reason why it's hard to build muscle is because your body has has to physically add this onto your body, and you have to stimulate it to grow. It's not very easy. And the only way you're going to be able to do this is if you eat enough calories and you lift heavy weights. And you're not going to put on a ton. And if you're not adapted, if you're a novice, you can put on muscle and lose body fat at the same time very quickly, which can result in 10 pounds of fat loss and 3 or 4 pounds of muscle gain. I honestly wish I could do that. I can't do that because I'm not a novice anymore. So you want that effect. It doesn't make any sense for someone to want to just lose the weight, because if you just lose the weight, you can lose muscle. And all you have to do is an hour of cardio a day on the treadmill, and then lower your protein intake, eat a bunch of carbs, lower your calories. You're going to lose a bunch of weight, but you're going to lose muscle as well. And then once you start eating normal again, you're going to get fatter by gaining the weight by eating normal. So that's all I have for today's video. Hope you like what I had to say. If you have any questions or comments below, on the next video I make, I can address it in that video.